Step one is going to be building up the lower sections of the hull of the tank body, and we're going to get all the parts needed for step one and step two. So that's going to be a lot of the parts off of this sprue right here. So let's get these things off. Alright, I'll do it this way. I'll get more light on the subject. There we go, it's a little better. Alright. Okay, there's some of the parts we're going to need for steps 1 and 2. And then we need to find the floor of the turret, I believe. And that is B6, and then we need B4 and B2. All right. Here is B6. Then we need B2. And B4. All right. So that's the parts we need for steps 1 and 2. Okay. So, getting back to step 1. Here we have the floor, and we'll just clean all these little nubs that are left from removing it off the plastic sprues. Okay, so we're going to lay this down like this. We want to take this floor piece. That's going to go in these raised pedestals here, these hollow pedestals. The floor is going to sit down on top of those. Let's just do a little test fitting first. See how it all fits. Okay, there we go. That fits nice, just like that. Okay. Get our Tamiya extra thin. Put it on these connection points. And then we'll glue it in place. There we go. Then we have this back piece here, which is a back wall of the turret, and it goes in these two holes right back here. See these raised holes? Those little pegs right there, those go right down into those holes. So we'll take a little glue, dab it in these holes. Take this and stick it down in there. Let's push it nice and hard and make sure that it seats down all the way, like so. All right, there we are. There's the floor and this back wall. One more piece for step one is this little engine or motor here. I'm not sure exactly what it's for. I think it's probably part of the main gun assembly, be my guess. Okay. And there we have step one. Now I'm going to glue these pieces onto the side, or these side pieces on. And first I got to figure out how they fit. Let's do a little dry fitting. A tight fit. I think that's it. All right, let's get the glue. Put a little glue to this. Got a nice texture to this floor here. Looks pretty good. Okay, well, now we're just going to let this dry and cure and set up, and we'll be ready to move on. So, I'll grab my marking pen. And I will mark off that which I have gotten done. And I write big old done on it. That way I know for sure those two steps are done. Step three, continuing working on the lower hull, and we're going to be adding some suspension parts and a rear panel. On both sides. So I've got the pieces all cut out off the sprue. They're laying here ready to go. So I'm going to start gluing these on. There's 5 of each kind to each side. Alright, in step 3 I have put a bunch of these pieces on here. They're like little inserts that went in these slots here, and I just got through putting on some little pieces of suspension springs, I think they are of some kind. So I'm going to do that on the other side here, and that'll be it for step 3. Alright, doesn't look like much, but I put in 10 pieces on this side and 10 pieces on this side of the same type of piece. So that concludes step 3. Oh, and also this back plate right here was put on. Glued this back plate on. So that's all of step 3. We'll mark it off. Step 3 is done. Step 4 is putting some actual suspension on, bigger suspension pieces. So those are all on the E-sprue. So we'll find the E-sprue and we'll get those pieces and we'll start gluing those on. Here are the suspension parts that we need for step 4. Just glued that piece on there, this piece of suspension. It's got a couple thin armatures there, another one over here, and then we're going to go with this E35 and this one here. It's E35 and it's going to go, we're going to skip one of these holes and go over to this next one, and it goes in like that. I'm not positive, but I think it goes like that. That doesn't look right. I think it has to go like that. No, this doesn't look right. I'm not doing something right here. See, it's this piece right here, and it's got to go in right there. That's what the instructions show. And it looks like it's just supposed to go just like, oh, I see. There's a second hole right there. So it lines up like that. There it is. Okay. Let's add some glue to that. Yeah, okay. So there's the second piece, which was the E35. Now in front of E35 is E25. That's one of these long pieces here. And we gotta make sure we get the right one. Yeah, that looks like that's the right one, E25. And it is gonna go in this front hole. Like that. That lines up just like that. So there we go. This is here. Okay. We have the suspension parts on now, according to step 4. These all right down through here. The same on the other side. That's all according to step 4. And step 4 is done. So I've checked that off. Turn the page. And we are going to put more suspension on. These holes that are still here, I'm going to put some more suspension parts there on both sides. So we'll orientate this, and we'll get the rest of these suspension parts. All the suspension parts on this side in step 5 are now done. So I'm just going to do the same on the other side. So I'll come back when I get this side done and we'll look at it, how it looks. Looks okay so far. The next thing I'm going to do is step 6, and that's going to be building and attaching the return rollers. The return rollers are going to be on this sprue right here, the A sprue, and they're 16 and 17, so that's pretty easy to find and put together. They're not too big. These, I'll show you, they're these little guys right there, right here. These are the return rollers, so they're pretty small. So we'll go ahead and just remove the 2 halves. Oops, don't want to lose those. They will roll away if they hit just at the right angle. So maybe I should get them down a little lower to the desk. There's one set, and we'll get the other set right here. There. Here's all the return rollers. So all I have to do is glue the 2 halves together, and Bob's your uncle. These little return rollers go on right here. We're not worrying about these things turning or anything, so we're just going to glue them in place. Right there on these little pedestals. We just want to make sure that they are put on straight and parallel, so that when we add the tracks, it all lines up good. That's the main thing. There's the return rollers on. And that completes step number 6.